Thanksgiving and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Know that the family is gathered around. Either you're there or they're here. And we even have a lot of places today and yesterday that were feeding homeless and people who were down on their luck. And once again, a big kudos go out to people like Carl Gilliard of Feed the Hungry that has done such a great job, but also Union Mission has also done a great Thanksgiving of a great day of thanks. They once upon a time, this was started by Reverend Jim Lewis some almost 15, 20 years ago, where he was feeding people. They did it in Forsyth Park, and they were feeding like 5 or 6,000 people.
I'm kind of sad they're not doing it in Forsyth Park. Like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Just saying.
And it was really terrific. Jim has gone on to, shall we say, greener pastures. But at the same time, they still had a Feed the Hungry. I think they had 400 or so that they fed last Saturday. So way to go, and we hope that you're going to be enjoying your Thanksgiving today with all the family and everything. And we want to tell you about people who and things that we need to be thankful for. Even talk to you about the real Thanksgiving, the original Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you some myths about the original Thanksgiving.
Oh no, I think I'm going to learn some lessons today, Bill, about Thanksgiving.
Talk about as well, since we don't teach history anymore in our schools. So we have one of the big items that we have just before Thanksgiving here every year that's done called Christmas Made in the South. And it takes place at the Savannah International Trade and Convention Center, where they've got half the island torn up now because they're adding on to God knows what. So parking at a premium. We go over there Saturday morning, and we got there. They opened at 10, and we got there about 11:30 or so, and the traffic was backed up over the bridge.
Oh my goodness!
We were practically to the crest of the Talmadge Bridge. And so fortunately, I think next year that's going to be taken care of because a lot of that construction will be over and there'll be places to park. But it was a nightmare. The best thing we did, we turned around when we could and went back, parked across the street, and then took the water taxi.
I was going to say, what about the ferry?
Yeah. So we took that and just had a great time and talked to some people who were not only into this, but we met people who are on a mission. These are people. One of the things that impressed me, Brittany, was the people that we met who started their businesses. Went into business for themselves during the pandemic. Said, "Well, I'm just sitting around. I don't have my job. I am getting some income. So let me start a business." And how proud they were of it. A lot of them local, and we also met some people that were a real religious theme as well. I saw more of the religious stuff this year than I think I ever have before, including a gentleman here who they work out of Jacksonville, but he's from Bethlehem. Wow. And he actually does these wood carvings in olive wood of nativity scenes, crosses, and some of the detail on these things is so amazing. Said it might take him 9 months to a year to do one piece. It's just incredible. So we'll take a look at some of these people who were happy to be here and to tell you about their wares, because we're heavily into shameless self-promotion, but also what they're thankful for.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Merry Christmas.
And we have a lot to be thankful for this year, don't we?
Amen.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Appreciate it. Oh. What do you think? You like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right.
Hey, guys. You want to smell anything there at the
Okay, so my name is Kathleen Furness, and I live in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, and I started a company called PV Shell Company. And what I did was, after I had a long career as an elementary school principal, I started walking on the beach, and I have a deep faith, and just like people see things in the clouds, in the shells, I saw Mary and Joseph, and so I started making some more nativities for friends and family, and they were a huge hit. So now here I am 3 years later, and I make about 600 nativities a year. I'm in 4 or 5 shops, boutiques where I live. I'm also in Annapolis, Maryland in a shop.
Wow.
On Main Street. I have 2 brothers who went to the Naval Academy, and on a recent trip up, we stopped in a shop, and now I'm there. And I don't know, where I'll be next, but I'm in a couple shows too, and I love it.
And how's it going here?
It's going very well. The Christmas Made in the South shows are real organized, and they're just easy for vendors, and so I really enjoy doing the Christmas in the South shows.
Now, understand that you get your shells. Now, how did you guys come out with the storm? Didn't you?
Well, I have some new creations because of Ian and because of the storms. These types of shell wash up a lot with the storms, and so this is a new creation just for me.
Wow.
So you get a lot of broken shells. I think I have some sales I have to tend to.
Okay, go right
I
ahead.
love talking to you,
My pleasure.
and I hope you enjoy my work.
Yes, ma'am.
Take care.
Gonna be 43 with the tax.
Thank you.
Signature, please.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too, thanks.
So you're George.
So yeah, my name is George. I'm originally from the Holy Land. Everything you see here is handmade in Bethlehem. I do all the wood carving in Bethlehem, and we ship it to Jacksonville, Florida. This video is kind of see the steps, my workshop in Bethlehem. We have also a lot of stuff like you see, like my crucifixes. They have like sand, stones, leaves, frankincense from the Holy Land. We have so many different items. It's all made by hand in Bethlehem. And part of our revenue as well, we support the Christian families in the Holy Land.
Good for you. Now, George, what's your last name?
Barham,
Now, spell that for me.
B-A-R-H-A-M.
And where are you? How did you get doing this? And this is a family type
Yeah,
thing?
it's a family, so it's a generation thing. It started from my grandfather. He teach my dad, then my brother, then me. So it's kind of how we in Bethlehem live through, like you can say, I'll say 80% of the income that comes to Bethlehem is through selling the olive wood and from the tourism that come during the seasons to the Holy Land.
And how long does it take to hone a skill like this? 10 years?
Oh yeah,
Have you?
yeah. It's about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much stuff did you have to mess up before you got it right?
It's a lot, especially when it comes with face detailing.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it, you're done. You have to redo the whole thing from the beginning.
Scratch, yeah.
And the olive wood also, since we have a lot of rules and
Yeah.
regulations there, is you can't cut the olive wood trees.
Right.
So we have to wait until the harvest time finish, and we take branches and do the olive wood parts through these branches.
Now, I heard the old joke about the guy that was a whittler, and they said, how do you whittle an elephant? He said, you cut away anything that doesn't look like an elephant. Now, is that basically what you do, or do you go by any kind of a pattern or anything, or what?
I got that. Say that again.
Yeah, and when you start to carve something,
Oh yeah, you start like with the small pieces that doesn't have face detail is like this. You see, like these are plain figures, they don't have that details. Then you go to a higher level, which is you start doing like small pieces like this that have details. Then you start going to the big pieces that they are like one piece. They're like huge and they're one piece.
do you have any picture to go by? You just this is your
you want to see like
this is your imagination. I mean, this is
see like these.
wow.
This is all one piece. This is like the top level that you can go to and start doing something like that. This is the whole thing is one piece, just the base is a different piece. So this is from here to here is one piece.
Wow. How long did it take to do something like this?
This it could take up to 9 months because you see the face details when it
Yeah.
starts coming to the face details. If it's not fully dry, they are breakable. So you could break the thing and then
Yeah.
we're done.
And they
Yeah.
9 months down the drain.
And then dad and grandfather start giving me a hard time.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I can sure understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so. And what Is olive wood a little more difficult to carve than other types of wood?
Yeah, olive wood is kind of hard wood, but the good thing with the olive wood that you don't have to treat it. If you put it outside, you don't have to boil it or nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like sunshine, rain, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah.
No.
So you don't have to treat it or oil it or nothing.
Is that shine natural, or do you put
No,
something
we
else?
put something. It's like lacquer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's give like the bright, you know.
Okay. Very good. Has business been good here?
Yeah. Christmas in the South is always one of my good shows, and we usually do like Florida and Georgia.
Now you live in Bethlehem.
In Bethlehem, 7-8 months, and
And
then we come
Jacksonville.
during the Christmas season.
Okay. Very good. Well, this is remarkable. I
Thank
did
you.
my radio show I did from Israel back in 2004. We just had a great time. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you
Appreciate
for
that.
doing
Thank
that.
you. Have a blessed day.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, right.
What a fun event. How amazing are those wood carvings?
Just remarkable, and we're going to show you more at a later time. But we had Miss Sugar, who was here they're up in Powder Springs, just outside of Atlanta, and she does pimento cheeses and all sorts of different flavors and different cheeses that she uses. She's a culinary school graduate, and she started this. And as you know, pimento cheese, as she so appropriately puts it, is the caviar of the South. And-
I had never had a pimento cheese sandwich. I had never had one. I did have one about 2 weeks
Living a
ago.
Sheltered life.
I'm learning to be Southern. It's good, Bill.
Well, yeah.
It's really good.
Some of the things that you take for granted here. I remember a couple of years ago when Gary Sinise was here, and he comes here quite often with his Lieutenant Dan band,
Yeah.
and entertaining at Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield, and serving lunch at Hunter Army Airfield to some of the troops, and they had just wonderful buffet, and for dessert they had several items, but among them was God's gift to banana pudding at the end. And he'd go up to some of these soldiers who were from all over the country, in some cases out of the country, and he would talk to him and said, "You need to go. I don't see you with any banana pudding. You got to get some banana." And they would say, "Sir, I've never had banana pudding." I said, "Well, that's child abuse. So please go get some." But it's one of those things that's kind of in many cases they're regional type. I
Yes.
still don't know why people don't like grits around the rest of the country, because they're fantastic.
I'm still working on it,
But,
Bill.
yeah, you need to. Shrimp and grits is one of the great delicacies of all times, and but it just goes to show that there are different areas of the country that have different things. Because I remember we served breakfast when I go to Trinity Lutheran Church, we used to serve breakfast and did a breakfast every Sunday morning between services, and when some of the people from the Midwest took over to do theirs, we got a friend from Indiana. One of their breakfast staples is baked beans
For breakfast?
for breakfast. Yeah,
Okay.
and just like when I did Army Reserve duty in Puerto Rico, refried beans are at every meal.
Yes, they are. I can attest to that.
But they made baked beans, and they were fabulous. A lot of people didn't try. I said, "For God's sakes, what's the matter?" Well, I don't know baked beans for breakfast. I said, "Come on, like they always say, it's noon somewhere.
Yeah.
Try them, because they were delicious." So that different type of foods for different regions. But if you haven't had banana pudding, then for God's sakes, you need to try some.
Guilty.
Happy Thanksgiving. Coming up next.
We are going to be talking to the rabbi. You had a lovely sit-down conversation with him, and I think it's wonderful for us to share on this Thanksgiving
Rabbi
Day.
Robert Haas, a Thanksgiving from our Jewish friends into the Jewish community, and for everybody else for that matter. That's next on Get Real America.
education is so important. People have always talked about what are we going to do? You're going to have school choice, you're going to have all different types of things. And I want to try to figure out how can we get kids an education? It doesn't matter what zip code you're from, but get them the education they need, because education is an equalizer. And I truly, truly believe that. And that's the reason I'm here, just to see how this is working, what is going on, how you getting funding, and just what's happening. We put people in office that doesn't seem to care about this country anymore. And I said, you know, if I can change it and I just sit back and do nothing, what kind of man will I be? But right now, I know I can change something.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
Hi, Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Thanksgiving. And there are lots to be thankful for. What are some of those things to be thankful for? Had a chance to drop by and talk with one of my good friends and one of my favorite people, Rabbi Robert Haas, who is the rabbi at the Temple Mikveh Israel, which is the third oldest Jewish congregation in America.
Wow.
And they have, if you haven't been by there, go by all means. They have a gift shop, and they have all sorts of great They have a museum there that is they have one of the original scrolls.
And where is it located, Bill?
It's downtown, right off of Whitaker Street.
Okay.
Or Drayton Street, I should say. Okay. And but it's an amazing place, and a beautiful temple. And Rabbi Haas was talking to me about what we need to be thankful for and what he's thankful for. We're talking with Rabbi Robert Haas, Temple Mikveh Israel, and we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. And Rabbi Haas, what should we be thankful for?
Well, I think we're thankful for a lot of things. First of all, I always start with thankful to be in this country. I mean, it is incredibly fortunate for us to be born in a place where we get to vote, where we get to work together with people of all faiths, all religions, all creeds. It's just a rare occasion in world history, and sometimes we don't always appreciate it, but we are just so lucky. And I'm so fortunate to have my kids, that they're being brought up in Savannah, that they'll be brought up in this country. So that's always first. I think second, we're thankful that we can make changes. I think it's really incredible that we're empowered to go out and make the world a better place. And my ancestors and most people's ancestors didn't have these opportunities. You often were in some sort of caste system where you were always going to be what you were when you were born, and you couldn't do anything about it. Here, we can do so many different things, and we can give of our time to help others, because all of us have free time in some way or another. And whether we can give a lot back or a little bit, we all can do it. So I think teaching our children and teaching ourselves, and free time, we can put the TV aside for a little bit. Obviously, we want to watch our football because I'm a Cowboys fan. They play on Thanksgiving. But we give back to our community. I know Bill was just telling me what he's going to be doing on Thanksgiving and helping the troops and feed them. That's a great example. Helping feed people on Thanksgiving, but also, more importantly, I think, is helping to do these things after Thanksgiving and before Thanksgiving. We think about it at this time of year appropriately because it's there to do that. Thanksgiving is here not to remind us to be thankful on Thanksgiving. It's here to remind us to be thankful at all times. That's why we have one holiday a year that specifically says Thanksgiving. every year we may tend to forget how thankful we are and our responsibility to help others, and that's what this day is for.
Rabbi Haas, I think that a lot of people, you have the opportunity of traveling to different countries and stuff, and I think we had a little more perspective from some of our citizens who don't appreciate this country and have something that we can celebrate like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I traveled a lot. That was one of the things I did, especially when I was single. And there's wonderful places in the world, so many countries, so many wonderful people. But obviously, the places you want to live are the places where you have opportunities and where you have a vote is a really good indication of what kind of opportunities you have. If you're in a country where your vote counts, where you feel pretty confident that the system is going to count your vote and your person is going to win or lose, and then as soon as that person's term is up, if they lose, they're going to step down, and the next person, whether it's your party, your person or not, that is a great place to live. There's so many countries in the world where they have votes and somebody wins and that person's in power for 40 years until he or she is overthrown or dies. So it's a great country. There's a lot of people who work together, and a lot of countries, people of different faiths don't come together like they do here. You know, you're with your group of people and you're with your group of people, but there's not this idea that you can cross the line and spend times with different people. So America is definitely the best country, I think, in the world. There's a lot of great places to live. Obviously, Japanese food is my favorite food, but we got plenty of that here. So,
Well, also, you'd mentioned serving Thanksgiving meals to people who are here, like in the military, that can't they're assigned here, they can't get away to go home. So we try to make home for them. What do you do here at Temple Mikveh Israel? You have a outreach program for Thanksgiving for people, or Hanukkah, or any other or time of the year?
And that's a great question, because through the years that I've worked at synagogues, we've often done things on Christmas or Thanksgiving. What we found sometimes is it's really hard to volunteer on Thanksgiving because so many people are doing it. Mm-hmm. So it's a great thing to do, but a lot of places are booked. So we do a lot of our efforts on different times. Like for Christmas, we babysit at a church so that people can go to services. But we try and emphasize our social justice and our social action efforts all year long. So we're actually not doing anything this year specifically for Thanksgiving. We used to sponsor something for Ronald McDonald's house, but I think with COVID and with the fact that places like Union Mission are booked, and the city does that big thing we did last year, the year before, the big feeding, which is a wonderful thing. But it's important to do on Thanksgiving, but I think it's more important to do it all year round.
Well, it always falls this time of year near Christmas for us Christians, Hanukkah for the Jewish community. And it was a few years back we had you on the radio with us because it fell right on Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and it was a great party we had. We called it Thanksgivica. And I'm inviting Bill and everybody to my house for the next year that Hanukkah's on Thanksgiving. It's in about 35,000 years, and you're all invited. So that was a rare occasion. But yeah, Hanukkah and Christmas are also a great time. This is a great time of year because it reminds us to be with people who are different and to celebrate. And what Jews have done a lot on Christmas especially is, what do they call it? Trading places, I think. It's, you'll see that people will go to hospitals when it's legal, or go to different organizations, and we will take the place of people who are Christian on Christmas so they can go and celebrate. We babysit at a church, and they come and babysit for us on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So it's a great way to celebrate, because even though Hanukkah is a fun holiday, it is not a major holiday in the Jewish world, so it's not like you need to miss anything to come together. So that's why it's really nice for us to go and do stuff for people on Christmas.
All right. Well, thank you for what you do for us, for the community, and for this magnificent, what is it, the second oldest Jewish congregation in America?
We are the third oldest in America. We're the oldest in the South. We're the second oldest house of worship in Georgia. We're the oldest Ashkenazic synagogue in America, and we're the oldest congregation that's been in continuous use. Other congregations say they are, but they're not. We are.
And tell me what Ashkenaz is.
Ashkenaz are just two main Jewish groups. dating back about 1,000 years. One is those from Eastern Europe. That's the bulk. Those are Ashkenazic. The other are those from Spain. Those are Sephardic. So most Jews in America are Ashkenazic.
All right. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, everybody.
Rabbi Robert Haas, what a terrific gentleman, and what a great, great congregation. And we have this wonderful Jewish community here with the Jewish Educational Alliance, a beautiful facility that they have there that is open to the public. They have a great gym that you can work out in or whatever, and it's all you have to do is just pay a few of the dues. It is amazing.
Yeah, and I think I love the first thing that he said, that he's just grateful to be in this country. I think that that's something that people really need to look at and think about. And if you doubt that this country is not the greatest country in the world, if you're not able to get out of the country and see how other people live, maybe you should talk to people that left a lot of countries to be here because of how much better it is.
Yeah, and they warn us about some of the things that they're seeing happening here that happen in their countries. And when you lose your freedoms, you never get it back. So you need to be appreciative of what this country has. If this is such a bad country, how come so many people are trying to get in here? Just think about that for a minute. And unfortunately, we're letting them in willy-nilly. But we're not going to get too political today, other than the fact that most people are not trying to break out of America. They're trying to break into America. And you need a dose of perspective more than anything else. When you think that there's a better places. Ken Hamblin, one of the Black Avenger, one of the great radio hosts who retired some years ago, always used to say, pick a better country. You don't think this is a good one? Then try to find a better one. I've always said that that members of some of the different communities here ought to go to these native countries that they seem to think are so wonderful. Spend a couple of weeks there. Tell me what you think. I remember one of our Harlem Globetrotters here, who is from Savannah, and I talked with him right after they came back from one of these world tours several years back, and he said when they got off the plane here, they kissed the ground because they'd been to some of these other countries that were oppressed or whatever, and that fortunately they were allowed to play their basketball game and then leave, but he said, this is quite some place. So Gator Rivers is his name, and he still serves us in the pillar of the community. Yeah, this is quite some place.
Yep, so that is one thing that we can be thankful for, is that we are in America where we still have a lot of freedoms that other people don't have. So something to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving, and we are going to take a break, but we'll be right back.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
At Get Real America, we want to promote your business to our conservative audience. Welcome back on this Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And we're glad to have you aboard, and lots to be thankful for. We were just talking with Rabbi Robert Haas of Temple Mikveh Israel here on what is absolutely a day that like no other in the world. A day to be grateful, a day to give thanks, that all started way back in the 1600s with the Pilgrims. And we have some things to tell you about the original Thanksgiving that have been, shall we say, are myths more than anything else. For example, the Pilgrims didn't land at Plymouth Rock, okay? It's I know. If I hate
You
to
just ruined
disappoint
a
you.
lot of things for people. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I hate to disappoint you, but that didn't happen. That story developed about 100 years after it happened, after the landing, where they didn't mention any rocks in their in their logs, and we've actually read the logs, so we know exactly kind of what they went through, and I can't even imagine what they went through.
Me either, Bill. I'm definitely grateful to be born in America and also grateful to be born in this time, even though sometimes we have our challenges. I think that there's still a lot that we have going on in this country that is amazing.
There's a lot more to be grateful for and to be thankful for and to unite us than there is to divide us.
Absolutely. And with that, we wanted to really bring you something just like a feel-good story about gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that for you now.
Sure.
Today, boys and girls, we're going to take a few minutes and draw on the pieces of paper in front of you something or someone you are grateful for. Taking the time for gratitude is so important for our peace of mind and our happiness. And it's a great way to remind ourselves how lucky we are for what we have and who we have in our lives. Afterwards, we're going to share what we've drawn with the rest of the class. Let's begin. Wonderful, class. Now, who would like to come up first and share what you're grateful for?
Me.
Yes, Sarah, come on up.
I'm thankful for trees because they give me oxygen.
That's wonderful, Sarah. Thank you so much. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Jason, come on up.
I drew my parents because without them I wouldn't even be here. And also they help me with my homework and I love them. Chocolate. I'm grateful for chocolate.
Okay, Rebecca. Thank you. Simon, why don't you come up and share with the class what you're grateful for? Come on up, Simon. I'll be right up here with you. What are you grateful for, Simon? How would you like to play a game with your classmates to see who can guess whose hand you drew? Would you like that? All right, class. Can anyone guess whose hand Simon drew?
I think it's the hand of a policeman because they protect us and keep us safe. I think it's Simon's hand because he's grateful to have a hand. Is it the hand of God? It's your hand, Miss Sanders.
there's a lot of things to be grateful for. I love hearing little kids and what they say. Sometimes it's very outlandish, and sometimes it's very thoughtful.
Mouths of babes. And for our teachers, thank you. For the ones, I always love the bumper sticker that said, if you can read this, thank a teacher. And that's exactly what we have of most of the, we paint with a broad brush here sometimes and critical of our public education, but there are so many dedicated teachers and so many that I can remember that were mentors and friends and who you found out years later they really did care about you. The first time I really became friends with a teacher was my second trip through the fifth grade. I enjoyed the fifth grade so much I went through it twice, and thank God, because I met my favorite teacher of all time, and I'm sorry I didn't tell her more and lost track of her after I went on to what they call junior high in those days. I still like that term better than middle school. She moved away, and I don't know her fate. She is probably with the Lord now. But Annette Roden was my second fifth grade teacher, and she was the one. That's when I became a good student. She took me by the hand, figuratively and literally, and taught me how to study, how to be a better student, and I started making honor roll from that point on. And had just been an average student at best. And of course, as I said, my second trip through the fifth grade, so I didn't do very well the first time. But I did very well the second time, and from then on. And it was thanks to Annette Roden, who was a lovely, lovely lady, and all of us adored her. And I think what impressed me the most was before I even met her, we had moved to Garden City here in Savannah, so I was going to a brand new school the second time. I was grateful for that from the standpoint of nobody knew I was going through the fifth grade again. But as we were walking down registering and to meet our teachers, we're walking down the hall, and two kids who were sixth graders in front of me were walking down, and they said, "There's Miss Roden's class. Golly, I wish I had her again this year." And I was like, I've never heard a student before saying that they like their teacher so much they wish they had her again, and how much they liked her. So that was the first clue that I was getting into a good deal. And so grateful for all those wonderful teachers that we've met over the years who have taught us so much, because teachers are to a degree immortal in what they pass on to us. It is remarkable. So we're thankful for teachers today.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you never, I think looking back, you also, in the moment, you don't realize the life lessons that they teach you. But I think that I could name almost every single teacher that I've interacted with and some of the life lessons that I learned through just interacting with them and some of the things that, in their classroom that weren't necessarily part of the curriculum, but that has really set me on the path for my life. So very grateful for teachers and the things that they do. And it's not an easy job. Kids are tough, and they can be brutal. So we are thankful for all those teachers out there and what they contribute to our kids.
Well, fortunately, when I was going to school, teachers were, the next thing to God, and you didn't step out of line with a teacher. In fact, the class could get rowdy when they walked out of the room. Our teacher or another teacher her class was being disturbed because we were getting a little out of hand. All they had to do was walk in the room, and you could have heard a pin drop. Suddenly, everybody was on their best behavior because we respected the teachers. Getting in trouble in those days was chewing gum in class or getting caught in the hall without a hall pass. Oh, let me slit my wrist, please. That was caused trouble, and though there was no such thing as a school shooting. It never occurred to anybody. But not only the teachers that we have in schools, but we also have teachers in life, Brittany. And my mentor in the broadcast business, Herb Bailey, that I worked with at WCIV Channel 4 in Charleston, my first 4 or 5 years in television and broadcasting. He was my mentor. He was the guy that took me under his wing and taught me a lot. And when I made a mistake, he'd take me aside and show me, okay, this is what you did. Let me show you how to do this better. And Herb went to be with the Lord about a year ago, and I loved him dearly, and still do. And thank you, Herb, for everything that you taught me. From the great standpoint of what a great broadcaster you were and what a great mentor you were at a time when we really needed it, fresh out of college when you think you know everything.
Yes.
And you find out pretty soon that you don't.
Yeah, when that reality slaps you in the face, it's really fun, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah,
So
it
it's
is.
always good to have a good mentor. And, those are people that we, I think they come in and out of our lives when we need them, right? I think that, I've learned a lot, even from you, Bill. So I'm grateful for you on this Thanksgiving Day. This has been a really fun project for us to work on, and,
Sure has.
excited to continue to learn things from you. I was a public school kid, so there are some things that Bill says, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, still learning.
So, on a great Thanksgiving Day, we have lots to be thankful for, including
A lot of things, Bill. We are, I think that we have Buddy Carter, which he's been on the show a lot in a political aspect, but I think that, you were able to speak with him, and, he was able to tell us what he's thankful for, along with Kenny.
Just ran into Buddy Carter there's a great group called Band of Brothers that meets every Friday morning. They meet Friday and Tuesday mornings at a couple of churches in the area, one in Garden City, First Baptist Church there, and also Life Church on Tuesday morning, which is on Waters Avenue or Bull Street. And and had a chance to ask Buddy what he was thankful for, along with Kenny Grant, who is a minister and actually conducts the Band of Brothers get-togethers on Friday mornings at First Baptist Church in Garden City. What were they thankful for?
Buddy, welcome back to the majority.
Well, thank you. It feels good. Everybody's talking about how disappointed we are. It's hard to be disappointed when you're in the majority.
That's for sure. We got Thanksgiving week coming. What do you have to tell people what they need to be thankful for?
We need to be thankful for living in the greatest country in this world. You hear about people trying to break into this country, but you don't hear about anybody trying to break out.
Exactly right. And as far as your family goes,
we are blessed. 3 sons, 3 daughter-in-laws, 6 precious, precious grandbabies, and we just could not be more blessed.
all right. Thank you for what you do for our country.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Kenny, what do we need to be thankful for this year?
Well, there's absolutely so many things. First of all, the grace of God. I mean, God is good. He's the good and perfect giver of every good and perfect gift. You think about the freedoms that we enjoy. You think about life and liberty and all the things that we can very easily take for granted and very easily feel thankful for, but not give thanks for. Thanksgiving is not Thanksgiving until you give it. And so we ought to give God thanks, and we ought to give God thanks for the people who make our lives matter, and give thanks to them and let them know that they make our lives matter. So that, among other things, Bill. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. And you got a trip coming up this week.
Audition. Well, actually, I'm going there for a funeral. But a dear friend of mine, his wife is passed, and so I'm going there. So, again, life, your loved ones, those around you, be thankful, let them know you're thankful, and give God thanks for it.
Safe travels, Kenny. God bless.
You, Bill. God bless.
I love hearing what everyone's thankful for and how passionate they are about it.
Absolutely. So Congressman Buddy Carter, First District Congressman here in Georgia, in the Georgia 1st District, as well as the Reverend Kenny Grant, who heads up the Band of Brothers groups every Friday morning, and by the way, has a big church down there in the Brunswick area. So
that's
way
awesome.
to go, Kenny.
I love it. We are going to take a break, but we will be right back, and we will be talking more about what we're thankful for.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Herschel Walker, and I approve this message.
I admired Herschel from the beginning. Herschel has always been challenged about doing things that people thought he wasn't capable of doing. He wants to be the best, and he has striven to do that, disciplined himself to do that, falls sometimes along the way, but he gets back up, and with his incredible drive and self-discipline, he has achieved mighty things. He's a real patriot of this country. He loves the United States of America. He also is realistic that it can be better. He is not a, quote, politician. There is a need in this country. There is need in this state for somebody like Herschel. knowing him, the character that he has, he will make a great United States Senator.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Hope
thanks
you
for
have a
joining
great
us.
weekend. Certainly lots to do. Tomorrow's Black Friday. So I always swear that I'm never going to get in that crowd, and I don't know why, but I always seem to manage to wind up in it for some reason.
I'm excited to hear all about it on Monday.
That's right. But it's, once I get out there, it's fun.
It can be fun.
It really is.
It can be fun when you're talking with people and things like that, but when people are getting a little crazy, I'm like, yeah, I'm not for the crazy Bill.
No.
Let's just all be nice to each other. No one needs a TV that badly.
No, they
no
don't.
one.
I've always hated these special Thanksgiving sales where they have a television for $5 or something. People line up, 3 days. They camp out on the sidewalk, and it's just I can't comprehend. And then when they open the doors, there's this stampede to get in, which is always dangerous. Because people have been hurt, trampled, some have been killed, and such for a $5 television. Oh, please.
Yep. So be nice out there on Black Friday, and spend this day with your family. Enjoy it. It doesn't. I'm not going to be with my family this year. That's really a different thing for me, Bill. But living cross country, sometimes that's how it goes. But I have met a lot of great people here in Savannah that are kind of turning into my new family while I'm away from home. So just enjoy it.
Well, a lot of people have been away from their loved ones on Thanksgiving, and today we'll be at the Coast Guard Air Station at Hunter Army Airfield, and we'll be, my wife and I will be joining our friends from Navy League to be serving a Thanksgiving dinner to those who are stationed here and cannot go home right now because of their deployment. So
yes.
It's always fun, and they certainly make the best of it, and sometimes we need those people on a holiday.
Absolutely.
Tragedies and accidents don't take a holiday, and those people are on duty 24/7.
Yes, they are. And, I think it's great that you go and volunteer, Bill. I think that's, like the rabbi was saying, I thought that this was interesting. They don't really focus on this time of year as much, or they try to do service in a different way because there are so many people that are willing to help during this time of year. But sometimes in other parts of the year, it looks very different with volunteers.
Now, a moment ago, we showed you about Kenny Grant, Reverend Kenny Grant, and also Buddy Carter at Band of Brothers. And a couple of weeks before that, there was an Indian evangelist who was in town. He came courtesy of Clay Johnson, who is a youth minister here and also a member of a great band, has called the Equinox Jazz Orchestra, and has a great voice and sings all those great, croons all those great tunes from the Sinatra era and things of that nature. And Clay brings Roy to this meeting, and they ask him to say a few words, and 30 minutes later, we learned about all of his evangelism, and he said what he said was just the hand of God in all of this.
With me, that's what I'm here. It's not a coincidence. I know that I asked to God. I know that I asked to God, told, ask it shall be given. I asked, I want to go to the world. He brought me America, and introduced all of you brothers.
Yeah. And Clay Johnson.
Yes, sir.
How did it work out that you came here this morning? It almost seemed like this was divine intervention of some sort.
It is. It's how the Lord works. He works in spite of our foolishness. Because honestly, I thought I had exhausted all of our resources here in Savannah, in terms of finding Roy support. And he had asked me if there was anybody else he could meet with, and I sent some emails to some people that I know in other churches. Got zero response. And our people were like, yeah, we want to meet him, but we just can't meet him right now. And so I knew Brian. Brian had just met him. I took him to the Buy Local luncheon here in Savannah, and Brian Dasher was very smitten by him. It was like, and he wanted the help. And so I called Brian. I was like, Brian, do you not have a group or something I can go introduce him to? I mean, maybe we should go have lunch, or if you had like a small group of guys. He's like, I know where you could bring him to. Bring him to our Band of Brothers coffee. And I'm thinking, okay, small group of guys, and then came in here and it was a powerful moment this morning, Bill. You know how it was. Just Roy gave his testimony, and everyone in the room was just so moved to inspired by his service and his lion heart, which is it's something that you don't see very often. Someone who's just so absolutely passionate about, at cost of life or limb or whatever, going to preach about Jesus. And so that's the same thing that attracted me to him when I first met him is the same thing that all these men felt here this morning, which was just the power of God in a very, very powerful way. So yeah,
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You bet, bro.
Absolutely incredible. And Roy Knight goes across India evangelizing, and he has had to fight off the enemies of Christianity that want him talking, including scars on his arm from a guy that was attacking him once with a machete because he was talking about Jesus. And so this is a guy that has a powerful message.
And this is another reason to be thankful that we live in the United States where we have religious freedom.
And as we close it out today, a special message of remembrance and of thankfulness, and great reasons to be Americans and to remember those who have gone before us.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Enjoy the weekend, and don't forget there's early voting coming up here.
We were not going to get political, Bill.
I'm not getting political. I'm just telling you. You need to go out and vote. So early and often. So nevertheless, just a way of saying a farewell to you on this wonderful Thanksgiving Day, and what to be thankful for, and a very touching tribute to those who have gone before.
In the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another, feeling of justice.
Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. Well, I just looked around, he was gone. Anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. Well, I just looked around and he was gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. I just looked around, he was gone. Didn't you love the things that they stood for? Didn't they try to find some good for you and me? And we'll be free someday. peace.
My brother need not be idealized or enlarged in death beyond what he was in life. To be remembered simply as a good and decent man who saw wrong and tried to right it, saw suffering and tried to heal it, saw war and tried to stop it.